And we're live. Yo, what's up, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast needs from? It's your boy back again on this beautiful Wednesday night, as always, at 7 o'clock. Host of Sports Talk with KC. Back with Titletown TV presents X's and O Sports Game Day preview show live each and every Wednesday night. Normally, I have my co-host Xavier Senior. Hopefully, he'll be buzzing in here soon. But I'm gonna hold it down in the meantime. I had a great weekend in sports, man. Went to a couple games. I went to kind of had homecoming Friday night, which was a complete thriller. Came back from 17 to 6 down, going to halftime, 11-point deficit going into halftime to rally to beat the Oak Mountain. I think they're the Eagles, um, 34-31. Uh, Great game by Sawyer Dearman and Kevin Riley, as always. Each and every Friday night for the Tuscaloosa County High Wildcats. Great victory by them. They rallied last second touchdown by uh, Kevin Kevin Riley, number 6 for them guys. I will show some highlight plays here soon in a minute once I get those. But a great game from Dre Brown as well, number 0, wide receiver for Tuscaloosa County High. Great victory, like I mentioned before. Came back from 17 to 6 in the halftime. um, Third quarter was going away. It was going back and forth, and then fourth quarter defense really locked in for the County High. Made a couple stops. Was able to allow Sawyer and Kevin Riley, the rest of that County High offense, to flourish and was able to score. Um, After a late first down by Sawyer Dillman, he limped off the field, couldn't finish the game. But Kevin Riley and the Wildcat package for County High was able to um, punch it in for the victory at the last second. And hey, um, for as alumni of County High, it was a great game for me as a fan as well. Um, Great to see the alma mater for the first time in years. It seems like I gotta learn that all over again. For real, for real. If you know your uh, high school alma mater or college alma mater, whatever it is, please hit me up and we can sing this together. Help me learn it. If you're from County High, please let me know what it is lyric wise. I might need to look it up myself and just learn. And then next game I can sing it with them. Another game I went to Saturday night. Saturday I went to the Alabama versus Louisiana Monroe game. Uh, from a fan standpoint, from football standpoint, love just being in that football environment. So, of course, I didn't enjoy the game. As far as like what I'm saying competitiveness go, because of a 6-3-7 victory by Bama, but just me being a fan of football, it's just a treat to watch, always to watch. My Bama Crimson Tide beat anybody. So, just one more game, just to get back on our feet and um, not from a loss, just to plug in some plays and let some other people play. Jalen Morrow got to play, see some of him. Got to see some Trey Sanders as well. Um Jamar Gibbs, we got to see him in the passing game a lot. Didn't get much of the run game going, uh, but definitely see him in the receiving game. To know that he has the capability to be a pass catcher out of the backfield is good for him as far as his pro projections go, but just an added element. Of course, we have Jason McCullough, who's very good at that as well, a home run hitter, and Roydell Williams. Like I mentioned before, Trey Sanders. We got to see some of him this weekend as well, which was always a pleasure. God, we known to be one of the best running backs in the nation. We was in high school, who had high expectations for him. Going into college, haven't really lived up to the hype, but he made some plays Saturday, so him being on the team is very beneficial. increase that depth for that running back locker room. Um, Speaking of which, they had 8 players rush the ball Saturday, so it just speaks to the depth. Roydell Williams had 8 carries. Miller had 4 carries. Jason McKellen had 7. Jalen Murrow, as from the quarterback position, had 2. Jamar Gibbs, he had 4. Only 36 yards, but he did catch a touchdown pass. I remember Trey Sanders had 4 carries, which included a touchdown. Um, Bennett had 2 carries for 12 yards. Bryce had 3 carries, one which was a touchdown. Um, Trey Holden, we got to see some of him. Here's 3 receptions for 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Um, but yeah, man, got to sit in the zone, so that was pretty cool for the first time ever. Great food selection. So if you've ever in the Tuscaloosa area to watch one of Bama's games, zone is definitely the way to do that. Get you something to eat, uh, go out to the game, get in the regular seats, and enjoy yourself, man. Me and my lady and some of my family went as well. So I definitely enjoyed myself. Um, but yeah, man, let's get into the main portion of the show. The new AP poll. Um, as always, a little shake up, some of the same. Uh, all right, we're back. All right, number one, Georgia, after beating South Carolina 48-7 this past weekend, is still number one. They take on Kentucky State this weekend at home. Bama, after beating Louisiana Lafayette 63-7, will play Vanderbilt this weekend. Hope to go to that game as well. Ole Miss, no, Ole Miss, God, Ohio State beat Toledo 77-21. We'll play Wisconsin this weekend, a Big Ten matchup. Um, Number four was Michigan beat UConn 59-0. We'll play Maryland, another Big Ten matchup. Two little brother playing for them. He's playing pretty well. Um, Number five, Clemson beat Louisiana Lafayette 48-20. They're still struggling, man. For some reason they're still at 5, allowing 20 points to Louisiana Lafayette is unexcusable. They will take on ACC rival uh, Wake Forest, who are now ranked number 21 after beating Liberty 37-36. Oklahoma, they beat um, Nebraska 49-14. They will play Kansas State this weekend. USC beat Fresno State 45-17. We'll play Oregon State this weekend. Kentucky beat Youngstown State 31-0. At number 8 spot. That's another SEC school that's in the top 10, man. Top 10, along with Arkansas at number 10, who beat Missouri State 38-27. Will play Texas A&M this weekend. Number 9, Oklahoma State will play. Um, will be actually off this weekend, and they beat Arkansas Pine Bluff this past weekend 67. I mean 63-7. Tennessee will play Florida this weekend, in a huge SEC East matchup. Florida is ranked number 20. They Tennessee beat Akron this past weekend, 63-6. Um, North Carolina State, they're off again this weekend, but they were able to beat Texas Tech, 27-14 this past weekend. Penn State beat Auburn 44-12. Man, uh, Auburn, come on, bro. I don't know what y'all got going on, what y'all need to do to get together. Um, Not very impressed, man, uh, at all. Um, Not saying Not gonna bash y'all because I'm a Bama fan, but man, y'all making the whole state look bad, the whole SEC look bad. Come on now, 44-12 to Penn State. Come on, that unless Penn State is really just that good, I don't see it. They are ranked number 14. Um, but definitely. But back to Penn State, they'll play Central Michigan this weekend. Florida, Oregon, number 15, uh, moves up to number 15 after being number 25 after beating BYU 41-20 in a West Coast matchup. Um, uh, Washington State. Um, they'll play Washington State this weekend. The Pac-12 matchup. Ole Miss is number 16. They played Georgia Tech this past weekend, beat them 42-0. They will play Tulsa. Baylor beat Texas State 42-7. They will play Iowa State. Wisconsin. Washington will play Stanford in a Pac-12 matchup this weekend after upsetting Michigan State 39-28. BYU will be coming off a loss to Oregon this past weekend to take on uh, Wyoming, Florida. Barely struggle win. The definition of a struggle win. Uh, beat South Florida in a 31 to a 28. We'll play Tennessee, of course. We talked about earlier. Another matchup we talked about earlier. Clemson versus Wake Forest. They beat Liberty 37-36. Obviously, um, Liberty doesn't have Malik Willis, who played this past weekend for the Titans, but yeah, very close to beat Wake Forest. Whether Wake Forest first will be to determine. This Clemson game going to tell a lot. Um, Next at 22, we have Texas. We'll take on University of Texas San Antonio. They beat them this past weekend, 41-20. A lot of those matchups, a lot of those scores the same. Texas Tech this weekend. Pitt beat Western Michigan 34-13. Rhode Island. We'll play Rhode Island this weekend. Miami lost to number 24. Um, Texas A&M past weekend. We'll play Middle Tennessee State. I can see a world where Miami falls out of the top 25. Let's get into my predictions for the local games. First up, we have Mizzou taking on Auburn. Auburn, you better win this game. Come on now, you better win this game. You have to win this game. They're the worst team in all of the SEC. If not you, if y'all do lose this game, it will definitely be you. Um, yeah, man. Auburn, this is the game. If y'all don't win this game, we can get out of the SEC. That's how important this game is. I do have y'all winning this game pretty handily, or even close. I don't know. I'm not really sure where to go, but I have Auburn winning this game. Of course, Bama plays Vandy this weekend at the Bryant Denny Stadium at 6:30 this weekend. I have Bama winning this game like 55-7, something like that. Louisiana Lafayette traveled to Mobile to take on South Alabama. I have South Alabama win this game pretty handily. I think they gave either them or Troy gave UCLA a run for their money, nearly beating them. Let me fact check myself real quick. Uh, oh, it was South Alabama. Yes, they gave UCLA a scare. They barely escaped with a win, 1 point victory, 32-31 over South Alabama. They should keep their heads up uh, and come out ready to beat Louisiana Lafayette. Uh, no UAB game this week. They will be on a bye week. But Troy will take on Marshall and and I think it's with the Sun Belt matchup um, teams. Troy will beat Marshall. Um, all right, let's go to our top five games from this week. Clemson versus Wake Forest. A game I have Clemson winning, but barely. I think Wake Forest might shock some people. They might even get the upset. Um, Arkansas versus Texas A&M. Our next top game of the week. I have Arkansas winning this game. KJ KJ Richardson is looking like a Heisman candidate. Drew Sanders is looking like he should have been a starter at Bama. It's showing why he was one of the top outside linebackers, edge rushers in the nation. Tennessee over Florida. In the SEC East matchup. Washington versus Stanford. Um, Not really an important game as far as like matchups go, but another Big 12 matchup. Washington, a team who's rising, still undefeated. A win like this could catapult them into the top 15, maybe top 10, depends on how things shake up. Um, this weekend, Stanford has one of the top quarterbacks in the nation. Could be looking to upset the Washington Huskies. Texas versus Texas Tech in a classic in-state rival match. I had Texas over Texas Tech. All right. That's all we have tonight for fantasy, not fantasy football, NCAA football. We now get into some fantasy football. Just talk about my teams and how I did this weekend. I had a bye week, thank God, in one of my other leagues. I think I didn't win a game. It's a bad week for us. Mike Evans got obviously ejected for fighting. Um, yeah, real one. He's standing up for his teammates. I will give him that. I know violence isn't condoned by the NFL in any way, but definitely salutes up to him for protecting his teammate. Um, but yeah, man, let's go into some fantasy stats. Man, the Titletown League of Champions, I lost 101.56 to 102.78 to Brain and Burton of Bama Retro Burt. Uh, my Titletown Black Warriors didn't uh, have a great week, to say the least. Um, Joe Burrow um, didn't have a great performance uh, this past weekend. Um, hasn't had a great start to the season altogether. Threw one touchdown for 199 yards, was sacked six times. Um, that the whole Bengals offense this weekend was kind of off. Tyler Boyd only had two receptions for 17 yards, which equal to 5.7 fantasy points. Um, Joe Burrow only had 16 fantasy points. I could have started Derek Carr, who I have on my bench. I had 18.98 points, which would have catapulted me to victory over Brandon this weekend. 252 yards, two touchdowns that equated to, and then Sterling Shepard, another receiver I had on my bench, had 9.4 points, six receptions, 34 yards. Um, Another bad performance. I was very disappointed in. They made some plays. They did get a defensive touchdown. They were able to get two interceptions, but it did allow 42 points to the Dolphins, which was the Ravens defense and special teams. Um, Texans and the Panthers defense both had 5 points. Um, 5 points on defense. Uh, this past weekend, they in free agency right now. I could have picked them up. Giants. They had defense and special teams had 9 points during their game against the Panthers. Matt Prater once again had 1 point. I can't blame him if they're only scoring touchdowns, they're not kicking field goals. I can't blame him, which could be a positive and negative stat. It could be getting turnovers, but for the most part, they're getting touchdowns. I think they're 1-1. Kyler Murray, who I have on another fantasy team, has played pretty well so far. But pretty much any free agent kicker I could have gotten more points from if I started him over Matt Prater. Like I mentioned before, the Bengals offense line needs to step up. Joe Burrow was sacked 6 times. Um, that's good. Let's get into some positive. It's all not negative. It was only 1 point loss. But yeah, Nick Chubb carried the team. Literally carried the team. Had 32.3 fantasy points. 17 carries for 87 yards, 3 touchdowns. Receiving wise, he had 3 catches for 26 yards. Zach Ertz, a guy who I didn't intend to pick, but had a pretty solid game. Had 15 points on a tight end position. 8 receptions, 75 yards, no touchdowns, uh, which could have helped a lot. Antonio Gibson filling in for Brian Robinson had 12 fantasy points, 14 carries for 28 yards, uh, but he also had 4 receptions for 13 yards. Very great, very good flex option. Obviously, can get some passes, can get some rushes um, out of the backfield. I had a bye week in my Kings of Kings league, so I'm not really getting to that. Other than maybe talking about my starting lineup, which probably would be not a good idea. Um, Backcrackers league. Um, how did they go from? I lost pretty handily to the worldwide Button Boys, 142 point 78 to 99.26. Justin Herbert had 23.46 points. Didn't get very much from my run game. Rashad Penny had 1.5 points. King Drake has 0.8 points. Big game from Cooper Cup, 31.8 points, 11 receptions, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Justin Herbert had 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Um, might not have him next week. He's still questionable right now, from what I hear. Hopefully he plays. He is a big part of my fantasy team. Brandon Cook, a guy who I took off the bench and started this week. Um, Pretty solid pick. The guy he played across from on matchup wise, Tyreek Hill demolished him with 42 points, 11 receptions, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brandon Cooks held his own, 4 yard, four reception, 54 yards. TJ Hawkinson, the guy I'm really getting frustrated with, but the Lions are hanging the games and also winning games, so I can't be too mad at him because he's doing what he's supposed to do for the offense to be effective. He had 3 receptions, 26 yards. Debo Samuel's great flex option had 5 receptions, 44 yards. Probably had 4 receptions, 4 rushes, 53 yards. Like I said, great flex option, man. Guys like him who can run and catch. No disappointment. I had Indianapolis defense, 0 points, 0 points. Surrendered 24 points to Jacksonville Jaguar. Also, didn't score any points on offense. Yep, the Colts. There you go, the Colts. Um, Bass kicker for the Buffalo Bills had 2 field goals, was 5 for 5 for extra points, which equated to 12 fantasy points. Great. I could have started C. Lamb, who had a great game against Cincinnati. He had 15 fantasy points, 7 receptions, about 75 yards. J.K. Dobbins, no rushes. Aaron Rodgers had 16.36 points, fantasy points. Russell Wilson had 11.6 points. I'm glad I didn't start neither one of those guys. Pat Firemouth, I could have started over T.J. Hawkinson and got those 12 points because he had a touchdown. He had 4 receptions, 20 yards, and a touchdown. Could at least started the Chargers defense, who did surrender 21 points to the Chiefs. which is actually really good because the Chiefs could easily go 30, 40, 50 plus against anybody. Um, 1 point fantasy points for that defense, and then Tyler Boyd, guy we talked about earlier, had 57 point. Not 57, 5.7 points fantasy points this weekend. All right, let's get into the top 10 NFL games of the weekend and predict these games. Game number one will happen tomorrow. Steelers will play the Chiefs, not Chiefs, the Browns, the Cleveland Browns. Speaking of which, a guy who played for both of these teams, Joe Hayden, announced his retirement today as a Cleveland Brown. Spent 7 years in Cleveland, 5 years um, in Pittsburgh. Great career, one of the top corners of the last generation or so. I guess you could say the 2010s. Probably one of those all time corners in that generation. Um, along with let's see who guys from that era. Chris Harris, Keem Talib, guys like that. Um, that man, one of the last the 2010 great corners to do it. Um, Honestly, I'm so very surprised by this. Um, his last few years in Pittsburgh was pretty solid, man, especially for his age. But 12 years as a cornerback could be very hectic. And whatever he decides to do the rest of his career, I know he's gonna be great at, as he was in football. But I have the Steelers beating the Browns, despite the Browns having a really good defense and Chubb is going crazy at running back. I still see the Steelers winning this game. The Browns have too many questions at quarterback, obviously. With Deshaun Watson's absence, Brissett was playing okay. Could definitely play better. Uh, they're 1-1, so can't really speak on what I'm saying, as far as them winning and stuff like that. It's working, not working, whatever like that. Next game we have another uh, NFC North matchup, not AFC AFC North matchup. We have an NFC North matchup this time. We have Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. I have the Vikings. The Vikings is my sleeper team. I've heard. I don't even think that it could be a sleeper at this point because honestly, I heard multiple people in the media, besides myself, to put over the Vikings, just to say that they are uh, among the dark horses to make the playoffs, to make some noise. Of course, Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins, and he's still doing Kirk Cousins things, being consistent. But with him being a veteran quarterback and Dalvin Cook, great as he is, Justin Jefferson, one of the top 10, top 15 receivers in the league. Adam Thielen, a guy who seems like he's rejuvenated now after a down year. Um, yeah, man, the Vikings are looking good. The Lions, I think, gonna make it a very close matchup because of the division rivalry, as well as they just playing well. They play a lot of teams very, very well, be very, very close to victory. Um, Multiple reasons why they don't finish some games, whether it's quarterback play, whether it's not making a defensive stop, what I'm saying, wrong read, wrong pass protection, whatever it is, to equate this victory. Last year, especially, they lost a lot of close games last season. They almost beat the Ravens. Like like teams like that, like they were good. Um, Next game we have the another division rivalry. Um, NFC East, we have the Cowboys, who are 1-1 versus the 2-0 Giants. Who would have thought the 2-0 Giants, man, coming off another victory over the Panthers. I have the Giants upsetting the Cowboys, man. If anytime to beat the Cowboys, it'll be now. No Dak. Um, Zeke isn't looking that great right now. Still splitting carries with Tony Pollard. They can't get none going with him either. Um, they barely look good last week. Cooper Rush has found a little rapport with CeeDee Lamb. I would say that, but I think the Giants, man, will have enough firepower to actually take down the Cowboys. Next matchup I have um, we have up is the Bills versus the Dolphins, AFC East matchup. Um, this could be a toss up, man. Both teams are 2-0. Dolphins playing really, really well. I'm very, very impressed on what they've done so far with their new look offense. A lot of people didn't think that Tua could get the ball out to both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but he had done a immaculate job this year, um, distributing balls to both our receivers. Um, and the Dolphins is looking good, man. I have the Dolphins beating actually beating the Bills, man. If y'all think otherwise, I understand. The Bills are a great team. Are going to be a great team. Going to be one of the top teams in the playoff this season as contenders. The Eagles versus the Commanders, another AFC East matchup. The Commanders are looking very good on defense right now. Could tighten some things up on offense. They do have Antonio Gibson going, despite not having the greatest training camp and possibly losing his job to Brian Robinson Jr. We'll see how things shake up in that backfield. But as for the Eagles, they're looking good. New look Eagles. Jalen Hurts looking very well acquainted with AJ Brown. Had uh, has had two good games. These first two games of the season. Um, I would like to see more of Devontae Smith get involved, but maybe it could be of how the offense is played and how plays are called and who's open. Really, so we'll see. But I do have the Eagles winning this game. I'm actually going to make it to the playoffs this season and win the AFC, the NFC East. So this game will definitely help with that. Next up, we have a match of two of the greatest quarterback of all time. One we know for a fact is the greatest, and Tom Brady for the Bucks, and then and Aaron Rodgers for the Packers. Another top 10, top 20 all time quarterback of all time. Um, both teams are down receivers. Um, we'll be playing with a bunch of no names this week. But if anyone could do it, it's these two guys. They've had some guys. You had Moss after his days in Oakland and Minnesota. Of course, Tom Brady did in '07 those years. Um, let's see, Aaron Rodgers, he's had the Donald Drivers, the Greg Jennings, the Jason Jones, guys like that. But those guys were never like superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like T.O., Marvin Harrison, the Calvin Johnson, guys like that. Of course, I mentioned before he did have Randy that year, and Wes Walker, him had those years. But most of Tom Brady's career, he didn't have a great receiver who just all time, all NFL guys. Like, of course, he had Deion Brand, some of you, Troy Brown, decent receivers, role players. But he made it work, made it do what it do, and I think he'll do the same thing this week against the Packers and pull one out. The Saints take on the Panthers in the AFC South matchup. I have the Saints win this matchup this week. The Panthers aren't looking very good this season, starting up 0-2, coming off a loss against Giants. The Saints, which one of the teams I had on my radar this season, seeing how Jameis played last season before he got hurt. He looks to be hurt now. I think his back or something messing up with him right now. Um, um, who did the Panthers play last? The Saints played last week. The Saints are coming off a loss as well, 20-10. Get the Buccaneers. Um, James didn't play well through three interceptions. He got sacked 6 times. Despite all that going on, I still think the Saints come back and bounce back. I think the Panthers are in total rebuild mode. I hope to see a Matt Corral for them at some point this season because they need to decide going into next season who will be their quarterback. I'm sure Sam Donald will be gone. Now he's lost his job to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield could still be under contract next season for them. Matt Corral, guy who picked in I think the third round. his job isn't guaranteed, secured. Um, I'm sure they'll be looking at this great quarterback class, who could be one of the greatest quarterback classes of all time, with guys like Bryce Young, your C.J. Stroud, who's looking really good, Will Levis, who has Kentucky in the top 10 right now. Um, they still talking about Van Dyke. I'm not impressed yet for Miami. Anthony Richardson, what's another quarterback that's out there right now? That's um yeah, man. Oh, the quarterback for Stanford. He's pretty good. So this deep quarterback class. The Panthers could be looking at. Next matchup, I had my Kansas City Chiefs taking on my former favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. I had the Chiefs beating the brakes off of the Colts. Man, the Colts didn't look good last week at all, man. And in the game they tied, they should have lost. So honestly, uh, but yeah, man, the Chiefs just another game to put a bunch of points on the board. Honestly, the Colts didn't score a single point last week against Jacksonville. That's all I need to know. Next matchup and NFC West matchup. We have the LA Rams, the defending champs, take on the Arizona Cardinals. I have the Cardinals in the upset. Yes, I'm calling the upset. The Cardinals are playing really good right now. Defensively, I think they can hold the Rams, who are struggling to find any kind of rhythm this season. Right now, outside of Cooper Cup, not much running game going. We thought Cam Akers was going to be that guy, but I think Darnold Henderson has taken Denard Daryl Denard Darnell Henderson has taken over their running back spot. They could be looking to make a big trade to balance out their offense at running back. I hear um, a lot of things about maybe a Saquon Barkley trade could happen just to boost that team a little more. And then one of the last games we have the 49ers versus the Broncos. Broncos didn't play well at all last week. They got completely demolished. 49ers didn't play well either last week, but I think now that they have Jimmy G back again full time, this is where they start their streak. Um, let me see, where's his stats? Oh, they did play well. Uh played the Seahawks. Jimmy G came in and was 13 for 21, one touchdown, only got sacked one time, 154 yards. They ran up for over 100 yards as a team last week. So, yeah, man, Denver, I'm not impressed with how they played recently. So I have them losing to the 49ers last game. Honorable mention. Y'all might think it's a big game, but I think it's a big game as far as the future goes, future NFL goes. Uh, a game that could be a coming out party, or it could be a another welcome to the league game for Trevor Lawrence. They playing the Chargers this weekend, man. A team who had loaded up on defense. If he could beat this team and pass the test, he could be uh, one of the greats, man, one of the elite of the league, man. But on the other side, we have another defense and the Jacksonville defense who selected Trayvon Walker, of course, this past season, who already had Josh Allen on the other side already, who's looking pretty defense looking really good this season. But Justin Herbert on the other side, like I said, this is a battle of the future of the NFL, man. Guys who are next up to be the great quarterbacks of the league, the next crop of talent, the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers, the new version of them. This could be that matchup. But yeah, man, let me know your predictions of all the games that went over tonight, or predictions for your favorite team, or game I didn't talk about tonight, college and pro. If Ask me any questions, man. We're still live right now. I still got 20 minutes. That's pretty much the whole show. Y'all can talk about anything. Just let me know what y'all want to talk about. We can um just chill and talk sports, man. Me and Lamar got some things going on next month. With Titletown TV, we have a We Treasure Our Chest breast cancer awareness event October 30th at the Bob Miller Center from 1 to 5. So y'all come out to that. Before we leave tonight, make sure y'all subscribe, like this video, my other videos from Titletown TV. Please subscribe to the Titletown TV as well as Sports Talk with KC. We can find this video as well as other old episodes of Sports Talk with KC um, next week. Um, Next week, be out for game day preview week 5. We'll be same as always to talk about the AP poll, talk about the next games, the next matchups, some fantasy football, some NFL football, man. Just talk about some football, man. Uh, we should be coming up with some basketball in a few weeks as October uh, comes upon us. So maybe we can get into some basketball action. Maybe we can talk a little basketball preseason, some teams I like next week. I'm a Lakers fan through and through. So yes, I think we're gonna make some noise, even if we don't. But yeah, man, just chilling. We got about 17, 18 minutes left in the show. Like I mentioned before, I can hop in. I'm gonna put the link to hop in on this show in the comment section on the, right of this live. So if y'all want to hop in and just talk to me, I'm here, man. I hope I um just hop in and talk to me, man. This is what it's all about. No, we gonna talk. Let's talk about the new NBA 2K 23. I've heard mixed reviews. Heard people love the NBA eras, the Magic era, Jordan era, Kobe era, the modern era. For my NBA, I hear great things about that. Um, I hear shooting is a little tough. But yeah, man, tell me your opinions about NBA 2K. Madden, Madden as well. Let's get into some. We can get into some Madden talk. Let's wait to get to the 45-minute mark, and I'm gonna close out. Unless you guys want to talk. You guys have a good night. This has been a great episode of X's and O Sports Game Day Preview, presented by Titletown TV as always. We'll be back again 7 o'clock next Wednesday night. Back again to talk about some more football. Like I mentioned before, I'm gonna start throwing in some NBA talk. Uh, like I said, basketball is upon us here soon. Hey, let's get it next week. We'll see y'all later.